Neo is the one. But what if I told you he's not exactly what he seems? The movie never really explains where his powers come from or why they work even outside the Matrix. When Neo asked the Oracle about it,
"Tell me how I separated my mind from my body without jacking in. Tell me how I stopped 4 Sentinels by thinking it. Tell me just what the hell is happening to me."
he got an answer that doesn't really clear anything up.
The power of the One extends beyond this world. It reaches from here all the way back to where it came from. The source.
Let me be clear, I don't think Zion is just another level of the Matrix, or that it's not real. I have a different theory. You might agree with it, or you might not. But out of all the ideas I've considered, this one explains all the inconsistencies the best. So, let's dive in. One of the key moments in the whole trilogy is Neo meeting the Architect. At one point, the Architect talks about an intuitive program that he sees as the mother of the Matrix.
An intuitive program. If I am the father of the Matrix, she would undoubtedly be its mother.
Neo immediately asks, "The Oracle?" The Architect reacts in a weird way. At first, I didn't get why he responded like that.
The Oracle.
Please.
But what I'm going to explain today will make sense of it. The Matrix is a complex and deep movie. It's full of philosophical, religious, and technological themes, plus thoughts on human nature and the future. You could talk about it endlessly, pulling from books, philosophy, and psychology. But in this video, I'm taking a different approach, focusing on the logical side of things and events within the movie's universe. Even though The Matrix has a lot of rules, there are two big questions that break the system because they aren't logically explained. First, how did the machines find Zion? We're just told they started digging.
These geotherms confirm the last transmission of the Osiris. The machines are digging.
In the first movie, Agent Smith is looking for Zion's coordinates.
I need the codes. I have to get inside Zion.
But in the second movie, none of the agents are doing that. Why? It's never explained. Second, how did Neo control the machines in the real world?
I can feel them.
The Oracle says it's because of the source. But what exactly is this source, and why does it work in the real world? We get no answers. So, Neo has powers because, well, there's just some kind of power. It's not really like magic or science. Now, I'll share my thoughts. This is just my theory. I'm not claiming it's the only answer. You can decide for yourself whether or not it makes sense. I've seen similar ideas online, but I haven't found any detailed explanation that ties everything together. So if my theory is similar to someone else's, it's purely a coincidence. Originally, the Matrix was designed as a perfect world. No pain, no suffering, no limits. People could be happy forever. It's kind of like a reference to the Garden of Eden.
The first Matrix I designed was quite naturally perfect. It was a work of art, flawless, sublime.
But the experiment failed.
A triumph equaled only by its monumental failure.
Human nature isn't perfect. We're made to overcome challenges, not to live in a perfect world. So, people couldn't accept this version of the Matrix.
The inevitability of its doom is apparent to me now as a consequence of the imperfection inherent in every human being.
In the second version, the Architect tried to fix the issues.
However, I was again frustrated by failure.
But another problem came up. Many people felt like the world wasn't real. They sensed a lack of freedom and choice. And because of this, some woke up and left the Matrix. These people created Zion, the last stronghold of human freedom.
This is about Zion.
To control the situation, the system created agents. Their job was to watch over those who went off program and, most importantly, find the coordinates of Zion.
I need the codes. I have to get inside Zion.
One of those agents was Smith, but even the agents couldn't fully solve the problem. People learned to fight back, and the agents' methods weren't always effective. So, the Architect came up with a more elegant solution. Why do you think he always found and destroyed Zion so easily?
But rest assured, this will be the 6th time we have destroyed it, and we have become exceedingly efficient at it.
A lot of people think the system always knew where it was, but that's not true. Remember the first movie? Agent Smith tries to get the coordinates of Zion from Morpheus. If the system already knew where it was, why would it need that information? The answer is simple. They didn't know. But the fact that Zion existed wasn't a problem for the Architect. He even planned for its possible reconstruction after it was destroyed.
After which you will be required to select from the Matrix 23 individuals, 16 female, 7 male, to rebuild Zion.
For the system, a small Zion was more like a part of the Matrix, a kind of backup for humanity in case something went wrong or if the human population in the virtual world was wiped out. The real issue was Zion's growing population.
If unchecked, would constitute an escalating probability of disaster.
Like Smith said, humans multiply, and if there are too many of them, it could become a threat to the machine world.
You move to an area and you multiply. And the only way you can survive is to spread to another area.
That's when the architect came up with a genius solution. Why keep having agents search for people who've gone off program when you can make those people search for the exit and bring others to Zion? That's how the new program came to be. Its name? Neo. Sounds crazy? Let's go through all the reasons behind this theory, and then we'll see how crazy it really is. There's more than enough evidence to support this theory. The Neo program was designed by the architect with several goals in mind.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix.
One of the main ones was to determine the location of Zion. To do this, the program had to be implanted into a human body. What proves this is possible? Look at Agent Smith as an example. He managed to enter the real world by taking over a human body. This shows that Neo isn't just a program. He's something in between a human and a digital being, even though he doesn't fully understand it himself. People who have Neo's program inside them have extraordinary abilities that make them the chosen ones.
These are the other potentials.
There is no spoon.
But to make the plan work, one program wasn't enough. So the architect created another one, the Oracle.
As I was saying, she stumbled upon a solution whereby nearly 99% of all test subjects accepted the program as long as they were given a choice, even if they were only aware of the choice at a near unconscious level.
It was the Oracle who spread the myth of the chosen one who was supposed to save humanity.
So is this the same Oracle that made the prophecy?
Yes.
This myth pushed people to search for the chosen one, which eventually leads them to Zion. That's how the machines end up learning the coordinates of Zion.
I'd say you were programmed from the machine world. But if that's true, that could mean you were part of this system, another kind of control.
Keep going.
The fact that both the Oracle and Neo are programs is shown in their conversation. When Neo asks her about her purpose, she answers,
Why are you here?
Same reason. I love candy.
saying that she's just doing her program just like him. After all programs have a purpose.
We're all here to do what we're all here to do.
Now, think back to the first movie when Agent Smith was trying to find Zion's coordinates. But after Neo arrives in Zion, the agents stop looking for him, and the machines start digging immediately. You might say that in the second movie, they first show the machines digging, and then Neo's arrival in Zion. But remember the guy who greets Neo.
Neo! Hiya, Neo.
From what he says, it's clear that this isn't Neo's first visit to Zion.
It's great to have you back.
Thanks. It's good to be back.
So, he's not the savior of Zion, but its destroyer. The architect himself says this.
You are here because Zion is about to be destroyed. Its every living inhabitant terminated, its entire existence eradicated.
Furthermore, when Neo arrives to see him, the architect immediately activates the monitors. This shows that he knows everything about Neo. He's not just familiar with his history, he's able to see possible reactions from Neo in real time. He's in full control of him. Then, the architect emphasizes that Neo penetrated the Matrix.
Though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably.
This means he was created outside of it and only later ended up inside, but he remains human,
You remain irrevocably human.
even though he carries traits of a program.
Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. You are the eventuality of an anomaly.
Notice this. The architect doesn't call Neo an anomaly. He says that Neo is the result of an anomaly.
You are the eventuality of an anomaly.
When he talks about an intuitive type program, he's not talking about the Oracle.
Thus, the answer was stumbled upon by another, an intuitive program, initially created to investigate certain aspects of the human psyche.
He's talking about Neo.
If I am the father of the Matrix, she would undoubtedly be its mother.
And don't get confused by the fact that he refers to her as Mother. First of all, when the architect talks about the mother of the Matrix, it's just a comparison. Programs don't have genders. And second, this is a Wachowski film. When has gender ever been an issue in their works? Neo doesn't understand that the architect is talking about him, not the Oracle. Because of this mistake, he mentions her, and that's why the architect reacts the way he does.
The Oracle.
Please.
Then, the architect talks about the main purpose of the Oracle.
As I was saying, she stumbled upon a solution whereby nearly 99% of all test subjects accepted the program as long as they were given a choice, even if they were only aware of the choice at a near unconscious level.
You're going to have to make a choice. Because you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it.
And then he goes back to the program Neo. Aside from finding Zion, Neo also has another task: to collect error codes. He has to track down all the people who don't believe in the reality of the Matrix, those who are capable of breaking its rules. Then, he sends that data to the so-called source, the main computer. There, the information about these bugs gets analyzed, and the Matrix is rebooted with the new code. This process continues until the next glitch happens.
The function of the One is now to return to the source, allowing a temporary dissemination of the code you carry, reinserting the prime program.
In the final part of the trilogy, this is exactly what happens. In fact, Neo follows the program all the way to the end, thinking he has a choice.
Everything begins with choice.
No, wrong. Choice is an illusion.
But he doesn't. Yes, this time he manages to make a deal, but it's just a coincidence. The situation got out of control, and the reason for that is Agent Smith. Think back to Neo's first encounter with the Oracle. She examines him closely.
Open your mouth, say ah.
Like she sees something hidden.
Okay.
Now, remember how Neo develops the ability to see programs later on. The Oracle has the same ability, and she sees in him not just a person, but something bigger, an entity filled with codes and matrix programs. If it seems illogical that the architect would create a program capable of causing so many problems within the matrix, the architect answers that question himself.
While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control.
Now, it's crystal clear why Neo could stop machines in the real world.
I can feel them.
He's directly linked to the world of machines. He's a part of it. Those abilities were programmed into him from the start. The Oracle also told him that.
The power of the One extends beyond this world. It reaches from here all the way back to where it came from. The source.
Now, her line about the death of Morpheus makes sense.
You're going to have to make a choice. In the one hand, you'll have Morpheus's life. And in the other hand, you'll have your own.
If Neo goes against his program, he'll be destroyed.
Every program that is created must have a purpose. If it does not, it is deleted.
If he follows it, Zion and Morpheus will die.
You are here because Zion is about to be destroyed.
Neo wants to know his purpose.
I just wish. I wish I knew what I'm supposed to do.
But purpose is programming terminology. Every program needs a goal. If it doesn't have one, it gets erased. If you closely follow Neo's behavior throughout the trilogy, it becomes clear that he really does act like a machine. Compared to other programs, he even seems less human.
This is my wife, Kamala, my daughter, Sati. We are most honored to meet you.
Your programs.
When he fights Smith for the first time, their movements are perfectly synchronized. As if it's a battle between two programs.
You're empty. So are you.
During his training, they literally call him a machine.
How was he? 10 hours straight. He's a machine.
And as the story progresses, the differences between humans and programs become harder to see. This is really the key idea of the trilogy, blurring the lines between humans, machines, and programs. The filmmakers constantly emphasize that the difference between them is just a matter of perception. Zion's defenders act mechanically, like machines. while the machines themselves are often associated with natural forms. Programs help people, and people help programs. This interdependence leads to the evolution and integration of both worlds, which is the essence of revolutions. That's why the third movie is called that.
I'd say you're a program from the machine world. So is he. How can I trust you?
Bingo.
It's especially interesting to look at the conversation between Neo and Counselor Hammond. He points out that the machines sustain life in Zion, and in return, humans make sure the machines keep functioning.
I like to be reminded this city survives because of these machines. I can't help thinking that in a way, we are plugged into them.
But both sides can shut each other down. Humans can stop the machines, but then there's no power.
If we wanted, we could shut these machines down.
Although if we did, we'd have to consider what would happen to our lights.
Machines can destroy humans, but then they lose their energy source.
So we need machines and they need us.
This moment highlights that there's no clear distinction between them. They depend on each other. The counselor even says that machines can give and take life.
These machines are keeping us alive, while other machines are coming to kill us.
And Neo replies,
We have the same power.
In fact, this conversation hints that Neo himself is a machine.
See that machine? It has something to do with recycling our water supply. I have absolutely no idea how it works. I have absolutely no idea how you were able to do some of the things you do.
What he does to Smith is the same thing programs do.
Programs hacking programs.
They can rewrite each other. Let's remember what the Oracle says. Programs always have a choice. Either hide or return to the source.
A program can either choose to hide here or return to the source.
But returning to the source is exactly the function of the One. Here's more proof. Neo is a program.
The function of the One is now to return to the source, allowing a temporary dissemination of the code you carry, reinserting the prime program.
Other characters back this up. Agent Smith says that he and Neo are the same.
We're not here because we're free. We're here because we're not free.
They both follow the programs they were given. Merovingian knows the essence of Neo and directly says, we are the same. We're programs. The difference is I know my program and you don't.
You know the answer to that question.
But do you? You think you do, but you do not.
He shows how the code, once implanted in Neo, makes him act automatically. Neo follows the programmed path, going to Zion, to the source, without even realizing it's all part of the plan. Smith also understands that Neo is not just a human, but a hybrid, executing a program. But he doesn't fully grasp the whole plan. It's only when he absorbs the Oracle that it all becomes clear to him.
Do what you're here to do.
That's why he reacts the way he does. So, the key to understanding the entire trilogy, Neo is a program in a human form. He's a creature on the border of two worlds, half human, half machine. This explains the architect's words, the Oracle's prophecies, Neo's ability to find Zion, why he can control machines in the real world. Everything falls into place. And then the main idea of the Matrix is revealed. Choice is just an illusion.
Because you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it. You're here to try to understand why you made it.
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison. We're not here because we're free. We're here because we're not free.
The truth is, we are completely out of control.
The film is a philosophical exploration of human nature, destiny, and the possibility of transcending it. We think we have free will, but can we break free from what nature has programmed us to be? Can we change our program? For the Wachowskis, this question holds special significance, and the answer is there. Yes, we can. The first step is realizing our program, and only then do we have a chance to start the revolution.
Our only hope, our only peace is to understand it, to understand the why. Why is what separates us from them. You